Welcome back to another video, guys. Today's going to be a cool one. I'm working on a collaboration knife with my buddy Brandon over at BP Knives. So we're going to jump right over to him, getting this blank profiled, and then he's going to send it to me, and we're going to do all the finish grinding, handle work, and get this blade all put together. So let's jump over to Brandon right now and show you guys that process.
So this is what we're going to be working on right here. This is a Bowie. It's my design. This is just a template, but we got some good steel right here. We're gonna do this one in some CPM S45 VN, and we're gonna be doing it with 1/8 inch stock. So here's the knife. Hope you guys enjoy this quick little video of me making a template for Matt. Let's get to it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that little video I put together, making this blank here for Matt. This is gonna be a fun collaboration, and I really can't wait to see what you do with this thing, man. Super excited to have you finish one of my knives, since a lot of what I learned is from watching your YouTube. So, all right, guys, here you go, Matt. Take care of it.
And just like that, there it is. Really cool profile on this. And he even heat treated it for me, which was really cool. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing surface ground. It's super good and straight. Everything looks really good on it. We're gonna get a nice finish on the surface grinder, and then we're gonna kind of look at it, figure out how I wanna grind these bevels, and figure out what we're gonna do for the handles. You saw what he sent me. It's some of this raffia material, which is pretty cool, green and black. We're gonna definitely incorporate this into it, and let's get into it. All right, here it is. We've got it up to an A65 Trizac belt finish on the surface grinder. And I'm gonna get a little layout die on this and kind of think about how I want these bevels now. If you guys follow BP Custom Knives, which you definitely should be, he has some really nice crisp grinds. So, you know, I have to do this blade justice with some really nice grinds. So I think I'm gonna bring it up kind of at my normal angle, kind of plunge, bring it up and over, and then do something for this little swedge in the top here. So we're gonna get the center scribe done in this, and we're gonna jump over to the grinder and try not to screw this one up. All right, so that turned out good. Man, I don't know about you guys, but if you guys make knives and you grind, tell me if you do this. A lot of times I forget to blink when I'm going through a pass. I don't want to close my eyes and mess up, so my eyes are open the whole time, and then I get done and I realize that my eyes are all dry. Anyways, okay. So turned out good, especially good enough for doing a stone wash finish on it. And if you guys are curious, I go 36, all of these are red label abrasive ceramic, 36, 60, 120, and then I jump to a A100 3M Trizac or VSM, I don't remember who makes them, Trizac belt, and then up to an A65 Trizac belt. That gives me a really good finish. If you want to leave it at that, it looks beautiful, or also if you want to stone wash it, it looks really good. So next up, I'm going to try to grind this little swedge freehand and see how it goes. You can see I marked my center scribe line up in the top as well, probably starting with a 60 grit belt on this. All right, let's do it. Okay, so I got my swedge ground in. It turned out really cool. I'm going to show you what I am hand sanding right now so you can see right along this edge, right there. You can see it. Just trying to get these little micro scratches out before stone washing. Just probably going to take it to 220, but there you can see it's looking pretty cool so far. All right, so I did a little hand sanding to touch this thing up, and I think it's looking sweet. Sorry, that side's all gross. But I'm gonna let this soak in the ferric chloride to get it good and dark. And before I do that, I wanna lay out on these scales where this knife is gonna go so I can decide on what we're gonna do, because I just can't do something as boring as just slap these on here and call it good. I wanna do something kind of cool, do some sort of inlay on it. So what we're gonna do is trace this out. I think he's got it to where you've maybe got, he drilled these holes for me. A front pin here, and then a rear pin there, I'm assuming. So let me trace this out. You guys can kind of see what I'm doing, hopefully. So that way, while this is soaking in the acid, I can start prepping these scales for an inlay. I don't know what I'm gonna use yet, but I gotta go through all my stuff and see what I got. Something like that. My marker worked better. All right, probably soak this for a couple hours since it is, I believe he says it's S45, S35 VM, so it takes a little longer to etch this stuff and get it good and dark. So I'll get it in the acid and we'll see what we can come up with for these scales. All right, so I've got a couple of these containers of, you know, little random cutoffs that I keep for inlays. Then I've got this one that is also kind of, you know, I guess you'd call them scraps, but they're big enough to where I can use it for inlays and stuff like that. So I keep that around just for this occasion. Now, as you can see, we've got kind of a green and black theme going with this stuff. Again, this is called Raffir Stipes. Stipes? I don't know. I think I did use this in the past, a long time ago. But I gotta look in here and see kind of what would go with that theme of the green and black. I've got some of this gold and green true stone. That really kind of would fit it pretty nicely, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna look all through this and I'll let you guys know in a minute what I come up with. Okay, never mind. We are going with bright green Yuma, I think. I think that is gonna be sweet. So gonna have a dark green, bright green combo, and that should really pop. Do something cool with the spacers. Yep. I think that's what we're doing. All right, let's get it going. All right, this is what I'm thinking. We got some black G10 spacers that are gonna go between these like this, and we'll sandwich it all together. Well, kind of like that once we get this all cleaned up, and that should be really, really cool. So I'm gonna take this over to the Beaumont disc grinder, get everything squared up, and get this stuff ready for glue up. If you haven't seen my videos on this and making segmented scales, you need to go check it out, because you can see here, once you run it on that disc, it just gives you this perfect, I can't even hold it together right, perfect flush line. So you got no gaps on your segmented scales. So I'll run everything on that, get everything flat, and I'll check back in when we glue these up. All right, so when I line these up, I kind of like to have that slant going with my plunge line. And then what I do is line up my pins to where it kind of makes sense where that inlay goes in the handle. Now with this one, because we've only got 2 pinholes in this, you could really do it however you want. So I'm going to put it, I think, a little more forward, that slant a little more forward. I think it'll look cool. So then the key to doing this is kind of setting it in place like that. And I like to trace out where the knife's going to go. That way I can line it up easier like that. And then I just kind of eyeball line these up. You can see obviously it's not even there. So I kind of go back and forth, line up the top and the bottom, and make sure it's perfectly even before we drill our pinholes. All right, here's a moment of truth. We've got I just did a 1/4 inch black G10 pin, and then I did a 1/4 inch carbon fiber lanyard tube on there. And then kind of gonna put them together here. Make sure everything lines up good. And it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. You can see getting those to line up good there and on that side is key. And you can see what I do sometimes is I kind of have to angle one scale to one side a little bit to get everything to line up perfectly. And you can see that's why I've sanded down this part to flush that up once I've angled it a little bit, if that makes any sense. That way everything's square. Now, basically what I'm gonna do now is mark out where that knife's gonna go, mark out where the end of that scale is, get these all cut out over on the bandsaw, and prep the front of them, shape them a little bit. We'll get these things glued up. Well, I'm starting to sand this part of the handle. You can see I got a chip that just popped off here. So that's interesting. Luckily, I'm going to shape these scales and I'll be contouring that out of there. So hopefully it doesn't chip in any more of these spots and we'll be all right. All right, I'm interrupting this video to show you guys something. If you saw the last video I put up like a couple weeks ago or whatever, I stabilized some antler and then I got a bunch of orders. Look at the size of this thing. Oh, that is awesome. Look at the base, just a giant shed, elk shed that I'm gonna cut up. It's almost sad to cut this up. It's so cool. I wanna hang it on my wall, but it's all gonna be different handles. So you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll be able to get 11 or 12 sets of scales out of this thing, but look at that. Wow. If you guys wanna see that video, if you didn't see it yet, go check it out. I went through the whole process of stabilizing this stuff. Really cool. All right, let's get to shaping these scales. All right, that's how we're looking. I've got them contoured. I added a little pinch grip there because it's kind of actually a pretty small knife. I figure you could kind of pinch it and use it like that. Really comfy. Scales are looking good. I just take them to about 120 on the grinder, and then we're gonna start the hand sanding process. So I'll probably do a little time lapse of that and check back in when it's all finished up. All right, I didn't film any of the hand sanding process, mainly because I wanted the music going and I used my phone to film and put the music on, and you get the whole deal. But we took this to 2000 grit, and then I did a 3-stage buff on it, and it really turned out cool. Let me show you guys kind of a close-up of what that's looking like. Really neat material once finished out. Really cool. So I'm gonna get the sheath finished up and get some final shots of this thing, get it engraved, sharpened, and this thing will be ready to rock. Well, guys, that is a wrap for this collaboration build. Really turned out neat. I'm really excited with how those scales turned out. You can see that material really pop once I got it sanded good, and turned out really unique, and there's even a little texture to it. Really cool stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. I did a little Kydex. Actually, this is Holstex, I believe is what it's called, and like that green carbon fiber to just kind of try to fit that green theme of this build. Now, if you want more in-depth processes on everything I did today, I've got videos on all of it, between kydex, handle shaping, everything. I tried to make this as quick as possible. So make sure you guys go follow BP Custom Knives over on Instagram. He is putting out some incredible work, and this was a really fun collaboration project with him. So hopefully you guys like this video, and like always, thanks for watching.